Hey everyone, gonna do a quick tutorial on fast cuccos. I know that some people love cuccos, some people hate them, some people will wait for 3 hours to do them and last location an important item on them. Regardless of your feelings towards cuccos though, you probably want to do them as fast as possible, so I'm gonna give you some tips for routing them efficiently. Optimally, this check will take just about 2 minutes. There is a little bit of RNG involved in there, but not very much. Even if you mess up a little bit, you can easily get this under 2.5 minutes. So just before I get into the routing for it, a little bit about cucco movement. So when you throw or drop a cucco, it's going to bounce in place about 10 times. This takes about 4 or 5 seconds. And then it's going to run away from Link for 5 to 6 seconds. And by away from Link, it's constantly checking for where Link is relative to which direction it's going. So you see it'll run directly away from me. And then when I change directions, it will change directions too, to try to get away from me as fast as possible. So we use that mechanic to get the cuccos to go where we want them to be. Once cuccos are in the pen, they will stay in the pen until all 7 have been collected and you've left the area. So that cucco is going to stay there. If I go into the graveyard and then come back, the cucco will still be there. This is true for a wide variety of actions I could take. I could go into a grotto, I could go into a house, I could warp out of Kakariko and warp back, and the cucco would continue to be there. I could travel through time to adult and come back, I could save and quit. This cucco is going to stay in the pen until all 7 have been collected and I've gotten my reward from Anju. So if in the middle of collecting cuccos you want to, for instance, go into the skull house to check 10 or 20 skulls, if you want to check the grotto back over there, the cuccos that are in the pen will stay in the pen. If you, however, have moved some cuccos towards the pen but they're not inside, once you exit that building they'll be back in their initial positions. The last thing to talk about before we get into movement is cucco damage. So after a certain amount of damage, cuccos will attack you. The amount of damage is variable depending on the weapon you use, and if you're attacking them while they're in their attacked animation or whether they're standing still. But 3 damage is a pretty good rule of thumb. If you're going to do 3 damage, especially quickly, then you're going to get this cucco onslaught. So we are going to use some damage in our routing of cuccos, so it's important to not overdo it. So I'm just going to make that stop, and we'll get into the routing. Okay, so the fastest way to do cuccos is when you're entering Kakariko from Hyrule Field. This is faster than entering from Graveyard or from Death Mountain Trail. If this works with your route, this is the best way to route it in. However, a lot of people do come in from the Graveyard, so I'll talk about that a little bit later. The routing is basically the same because we do the cuccos in 2 groups, a group of 4 and a group of 3. So we're going to do this cucco here, the one that's in that box over there, the one up at the top, and the one that is beside the skull house as a group of 4. So of course we'll start with the one right at the front, and as soon as we grab it we want to line up with the wall of the skull house, turn around, and back walk towards it. It doesn't need to be very precise, but what you do want to avoid is back walking into this corner here. That does slow you down quite a lot. So coming from over here, we'll line Link's head up with the wall there, and we'll back walk until we are past the wall. Then we want to turn and throw the cucco that way. He'll run all the way up to the top, and so that gets him in the direction that we want him to go. This one in the box is unique. It's immediately in its running animation, so you want to run past it as soon as it's out of the box. That way it runs towards the stairs, which is where we'll get it later. Then we're going to side hop up these stairs and come and grab this one over here. We'll come down to the roof, and we want to run along the edge of the roof so that Link doesn't jump off, he just sort of floats off. With these 2 here, a lot of people want to throw it towards the pen, but that's actually not the fastest way to do it. We want to throw it directly off. The reason is, when we jump down here, they'll run at an angle away from Link, so towards the wall, towards the pen, and up the hill at the same time. So this is the last one we'll collect, and we can back walk up the stairs with it. Now there is a little bit of RNG here. Once they finish their running animation, they're gonna just move essentially randomly. But they ideally will be congregated pretty close to the fence so that you can grab them all fairly quickly and toss them in. So next we'll do this stray one that's over here, and the two that are on the other side of the fence as a group of 3. You'll see top speedrunners like Marco and ZFG backwalking for this portion. It saves a small amount of time, but it's difficult to set up, so I don't bother. Try to land on the corner of the fence here, turn left, and throw the Cucco. Then we want to get down here as quick as possible. Once it starts its running, we'll grab this Cucco and come over here. That may have been too slow. This Cucco may now be in a bad position for me. So we want to do all that as quickly as possible. Again, some people want to throw this directly this way. That actually leads the Cucco into a bad position. What we want to do is throw it into that corner, and then as quickly as possible, make our way over here. It doesn't matter if you fall off this fence or not. What matters is getting over to this wall as fast as possible. We'll see the Cucco is not in this corner where we threw it. It's run away. That one there, I think, is the initial one that I threw because I was too slow. There is a way to jump off this fence and onto the ladder. Depending on the precision of your controller, it can be easier or more difficult. I get it sometimes. We'll go over that again in a minute. The last one here, we want to make sure we've got an angle so that we don't land on this fence. That slows you down considerably. So once we get down here, we want to go past the Cucco, throw it, come back, throw again, and then toss a nut. If you don't have a nut, a sword slash, or you can shoot it with the boomerang or with the slingshot, but that makes it run instantly. And then we grab our last one, line up if we want, back walk over here, and they'll all be together. When they're all so close to Anju, there is a chance that you'll accidentally talk to her. So we see here, speak, grab. We're looking at, and this can be very difficult, but you're looking at your blue A button icon. You're looking for grab. So try to avoid hitting it while it says speak. And that's it. So I'm just going to go over the second 3 Cuccos one more time, and we'll do it without damaging the Cuccos this time, because sometimes you don't have any weapon to conveniently damage them with. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like coming from the graveyard. We'll start with this group of 3. And I'll get the movement better this time so that you can see, ideally, what the position of these Cuccos is going to be. So again, we're going to try to land right on the corner of this fence, toss to the left, and then jump down here, grab the Cucco, and come over to the stairs. We want to do all of that as smoothly and quickly as possible. And then again, toss him into the corner, run along the fence, and there, I grabbed the ladder this time. So if you don't have anything to damage the Cuccos with, or you don't want to be bothered pausing to equip something, we'll come down here, toss it, grab the other one, toss it, grab the third one, and we have to wait until they're both running. If I go too soon, the second Cucco will turn around and run behind me back towards the well. So it's very important to wait to see both of them running before you start moving forward. So now I'm going to do all of it together just to go over everything, and we'll time it, see if I can get 2-minute Cuccos. Alright, here we go. So something I didn't mention the first time through is that the carpenters that are running around in Kakariko Village have the potential to get in your way a little bit. Particularly, there's one who will be coming down the stairs as we're side-hopping up. If you're doing this anywhere close to optimally, there's a potential that you might accidentally, in mashing the jump button, try to talk to it. There he is. We missed it. There's another carpenter that can get in your way when you're grabbing the one that's escaped from the box. So we'll see that in a minute. Again, with these two that we're going to throw from the Skulltula house platform, throw them at a right angle, and you want to try to throw them as close together as possible so that they'll be moving at roughly the same time. See, this is the other one that can get in our way. We'll back walk over here, and hopefully they'll all be nicely lined up for us. Yeah, that's not bad. As I said, there's some RNG here. Sometimes you'll get them all closer to the pen. But overall, that's pretty good, so we can just quickly toss them all in. When you're going by Angie, you want to be careful not to be mashing the roll button. She has a very large radius for talking to her, and it's very easy to accidentally hit speak when you're trying to roll. Again, left and throw, jump down here, and trying to do that all as quickly as possible to get the Cucco to run the way we want. Into the corner, up onto the fence, grabbing the ladder, and that is a maneuver that can take a little bit of practice, but once you get it, you can get it pretty consistently usually. So we'll go past the Cuccos, come back, grab one, throw, and nut, grab the third one, and we can just back walk right over. And there we go, 2 minutes and 1 second. That's pretty good. So like I said, that's a pretty optimal time, but even doing it in 2:15 or 2:30 is pretty good. So hopefully this video has helped you to shave a little bit of time off of your Cucco collection. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any feedback for me, please let me know. Have a great day. Peace.